What's up, folks? Figured I'd go live while I watch some wrestling here. I'm alone right now. My buddy's not coming over till later to watch wrestling with me, so figured I'd do a little live stream. I'm gonna be a little distracted today while I'm watching wrestling, but feel free to ask me questions. I got the chat pulled up, so I should be able to see all your questions here. You gotta get some likes in the stream here, notifying viewers. Sweet. Be sure to double tap that screen. Like the stream, that'll help us notify more people. Go ahead and send the stream or share the stream if you so desire. Right now I'm watching Penn State wrestler Carter Sirachi, who came into the NCAA tournament with a bum knee. And nobody knew if he'd actually be able to wrestle. Right now he's beating the number one wrestler 4-0. So pretty impressive. I just smoked my gaming controller. I got one of these for the gaming stream. Greetings from Tennessee. What's up, David? Greetings. Thank you for sharing the stream, Sofa King Silly. Thank you. I appreciate that. Make sure you guys double tap the screen, like the stream. Free Palestine, you bet. Got my flag back there. Thank you for the roses, Apostopic. What happened to your eyes? You okay, brother? Just from wrestling. Yeah, I should have got it glued when it originally got opened up. It was like I took an elbow, but I had to go coach. I had to go coach at a tournament immediately after practice, so I didn't get a chance to get it glued. So now it's taking a little longer to heal, but it's almost healed up. We're about there. Opinions on Kurt Angle winning a gold medal with a broken neck? Pretty badass, right? I mean, Kurt Angle is a pro wrestler, but people don't know he was also an Olympic wrestler. Well, people do kind of know that if they watch the WWE, because that was Kurt Angle's whole shtick. He would come out with the Olympic gold medal on in his singlet. But thank you for the heart. Thank you for the heart, John. Appreciate that. Thank you so much for all your hard work and content. It's so appreciated. You bet. Thank you for saying that. This is what I love to do. It's what's important. So, favorite UFC fighter? I really like Bilal Muhammad. I know that's not a common answer. Bilal is known for being like kind of boring and not having a lot of love with the fans, but he's the most pro-Palestinian fighter you'll find. And he's a good guy and he's a good fighter. And, you know, I get annoyed with casual MMA fans too, right? People who just want to see knockouts, who don't appreciate skill. That pisses me off, and those are the kind of people who don't like Bilal Muhammad. The ones who are like, why don't you just stand and bang? Why don't you just let the guy hit you in the face because it's more exciting for the fans while we drink beer and watch? Thank you for the heart. Thank you. Sakaria. Hey, man, what's up? I'm just watching the NCAAs, watching the wrestling tournament. I would show you guys the wrestling tournament, but I just had to pay $10 for it. So I don't think they would like me live streaming it to people for free. Thank you for speaking up for the Palestinians and being brave. You bet. It's not difficult for me. It would be impossible for me, I feel like, to be a Zionist or to be an establishment simp. I can't help but tell the truth, even when it doesn't make sense, even like when the Russia-Ukraine thing first started popping off, and even all these big creators on TikTok were calling me a Putin puppet and a Putin simp and a supporter of Russian imperialism, you know, like Good Morning Bad News did that, Ryan Beard did that, a bunch of big TikTok creators, and, you know, and then we got banned, right? Because I was saying, you know, look at what NATO's doing in Ukraine. Look at what NATO has done to provoke this. Look at how NATO has backed, you know, right-wing extremists in Ukraine. Look how Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries on the planet. Look what the U.S. is doing there to provoke this conflict. And that got me called a Russian simp and a Putin simp by even big accounts, like I said. And my account got banned, right? And there weren't that many people sticking up for me. There were a lot of people who were still indoctrinated with a lot of liberalism. Who didn't want to hear what I had to say about NATO, who just wanted to say Russia bad and leave it at that. But like, I look back and yeah, I wish I would have been a little smarter. Like now I'm a little bit more intelligent with how I go about, saying things. You know, I'm a little more intelligent with trying to not get banned. But you know, I don't regret saying the truth. I don't regret telling the truth. I don't regret going against the establishment narrative, right? What I would regret is if I was like, pro-Ukraine and didn't critique NATO at all and didn't tell you guys the truth. I just don't have that in me. Right? I just gotta say what I think is true. And sometimes that makes people mad, especially people on the established left. But guess what? The left in America, the left over the past few decades hasn't really accomplished much of anything. You know what I mean? Not to be down and out about it, but we've been living through 40 years of neoliberalism. We've seen the unions busted up. We've seen the number of card-carrying communists decrease since, the last century or the early parts of the last century. We've seen anti-communism. We've seen neoliberalism, right? So, in my opinion, if the new generation of socialists like me wasn't shaking things up a little bit and wasn't, ruffling feathers on the left, we wouldn't be doing our job, right? Because we got to be self-critical. If TikTok gets banned, open an account in Mexico or Canada. The bill that's proposing a TikTok ban is it says if you use a VPN to circumnavigate the ban, you could face prison for 20 years. Swear to God, that is in the bill. So they're really trying to ban TikTok and avoid anyone ever using it again. What's the highest stage that you've wrestled at? I haven't wrestled at the world stage. But I've qualified multiple times for the world team trials. So I've wrestled like the best Greco-Roman wrestlers in America. Have you seen Dr. Huey Lee's video on you? Not sure who that is. Make a YouTube. I have one. My YouTube channel is called Midwestern Marks. I'm very active there. I stream there. We upload videos constantly. We recently got demonetized. Which is unfortunate, but use Clapper. It's the same as TikTok. Okay, I'll consider that. I'll probably move towards like Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts once TikTok gets banned and just continue to upload them on X, my Twitter account, at Midwestern Marks and at Ed B. Ligersmith. By the way, follow us there. We've been growing more on X than on other platforms because there's less censorship there. But yeah. Fave UFC fighter, Bilal Muhammad. The pro-Palestinian fighter. Have you ever trained BJJ? Just a bit. Assad, ? There are legitimate Marxist and socialist critiques of Assad, right? Like, I don't think he's, ideologically where I'm at. There seems to be more of an Islam, even though he calls himself a Ba'athist socialist, Ba'athist socialism is, kind of like socialism with an Islamic tinge, and that's where I get into theoretical disagreements with Assad. But it's hard to focus on building socialism when you're fighting a war, a NATO proxy war, where the U.S. has armed and funded all these jihadist extremist groups and they're tearing apart your country. And the U.S. is occupying your oil fields. It's hard to focus on building socialism, but, Assad isn't like one of those leaders who I hold up and I'm like, he's building socialism, go Assad, read Assad theory, but he is an anti-imperialist leader. He has been completely demonized by the U.S., unfairly demonized by the U.S. He is a rational actor. He is the democratically elected leader of his country. Thank you, Prince Ali. Thank you for the finger heart. And we should stand against U.S. regime change efforts against Syria, which includes standing against the lies about Assad, right? If there's legitimate critiques of Assad to be made, and I have plenty of comrades who know the situation in Syria better than me, and they make very fair and good critiques of Assad from a Marxist perspective, right? But some of the accusations they've made about Assad have been not true. There has been no evidence, and we saw that nowhere was that more evident than with the UN whistleblower cover-up in Duma, Syria, which Aaron Mate, an independent journalist, has blown that wide open and shown how these there was no evidence for these supposed attacks by Assad against his own people, which were then used to justify U.S. missile strikes on Syria. So critique Assad when it's legitimate, but, don't fall for imperialist lies just because the U.S. wants to overthrow Syria. Libya was closer to an actual Islamic socialist state. Yeah, I tend to agree. I tend to agree with you. Even though Gaddafi wasn't a Marxist-Leninist, and if he was, I think he would have had a better chance of not getting overthrown. I do agree with you that Libya was more socialistic in terms of how its economy was structured. Thank you, Brando. Why are you not fasting, brother? I'm not Muslim. I'm sorry. Should I be fasting in solidarity for Ramadan? That would be difficult. I have so much respect for the Muslim wrestlers and the Muslim MMA fighters, of which there are many, many good ones. Because a lot of them won't compete during Ramadan. Like, a lot of the fighters won't take fights during Ramadan because they don't want to fight fasted. But they still train. It's like, dang. That's pretty badass. You're training twice a day on no food and then just eating food at night. That's tough. Thank you, Lucky Lefty. Thank you for following. By the way, be sure to, of course, follow my TikTok account, but also go to the link tree in my bio and follow me on other places. Oh, that's an upset. Wow. The number 2 seed just went down. Oh, no, whip over. Oh, something crazy is going down right now. Oh, wow. That was nuts. That was actually nuts. Oh, he's got to take him down again, though. He's going to take him down again. No way. The 4 seed was going to lose to the 28 seed, and he took him down twice. Oh, he doesn't have the takedown yet, though. He's got to get it. Oh, he's going to get it. He's going to get it. He got it. He's going to win. Yeah, I know a buddy of mine who was a wrestler who passed out during Ramadan once, because it actually wasn't during wrestling. It was during football practice, but he didn't have any food. That's impressive, man, to train like that. I can eat so much food and not get fat when I'm training 2, 3, 4 times a day because you're just burning so many calories. What was I going to say? Will you get to the Olympics? I'll be honest with you, it's not likely this year. I'm doing my best, but in 4 years, I'm going to have a real shot. But I'm going to give it my all this year for sure. Thank you, YZ. Thank you for the rose. Oh, also, by the way, please join my Discord server. All right, go to the link in my bio. Join the Discord server. That's the best place to be a part of the Midwestern Marks community. That's the best place to not lose me if I get banned on TikTok. All right, if you want to keep up to date with me and all the content that we put out at the Midwestern Marks Institute, which I co-founded with my brother from another mother, Carlos Garrido, and we now have other great people helping us. If you want to keep up to date with everything we're doing, join the Discord. We're going to get people organized. We're going to get people more educated. And we're going to work to get, thank you for joining, Jay. Thank you for joining the Discord. But we've also been using the Discord to, organize, I'll respond to Dan Crenshaw. Or I'll respond to some big-time politician. Then I'll post it in the Discord, and we've been, ratioing politicians. And having these posts that I make about, debunking politicians' lies, because we give them a boost with the Discord, they're able to get picked up by the Twitter algorithm and go viral. So we've been able to get a lot of viral videos about the TikTok ban, about Palestine, about corruption, about certain politicians taking money from the Israeli lobby, all sorts of things because of that Discord. So thank you, Suda. Thank you for the heart. Join my team. Join my Discord. Don't you think saying this will stop you getting to the Olympics? So here's the deal. My weight class, I'm going to give it my all, right? And in my mind, I'm going to win the Olympic trials, right? In my mind, that's my mindset. I don't have a loser's mindset, I'm not going to make it. But my weight class didn't qualify. So to get to the Olympics, you have to win a certain amount of international tournaments. And the qualifying tournament, the Pan American Games, my weight class isn't qualified. So my weight class doesn't get to go to the Olympics unless someone from the United States goes to this incredibly hard European tournament and wins, or gets second, which only one American has done in Greco-Roman in the last 20, 30 years, right? So I would have to qualify my weight for the Olympics by winning that tournament and win the last chance Olympic qualifier and win the Olympic qualifier, right? And I've been training really, really hard for 2 years. But in 4 years, I'll have 6 hard years of training under me. And I'll, be in a much better spot. But that's all I'm saying is that in 4 years, I'll be better. This year I'm going to give it my all. But I just want to be honest, it's a long shot to qualify, so. Thoughts on submission grappling champion, Eddie? I like submission grappling. I watched the Eddie Bravo Invitational. Ooh, my sister's boyfriend and my former teammate is going to be coming up here soon. I might get a little hype for his match. Forgive me if I start screaming at my computer screen. I'm watching the NCAA championships right now. Thanks for all the accurate information. You bet, Sarah. That's what I'm here for. Hope you get it. Thank you. Who's on the wall behind you? I've got me. That's me. They made these when I qualified for nationals. The year it got canceled for COVID, actually. They were going to wave these around while we were wrestling, but of course it got canceled. That's also me. They put that on the wall at my college when I got All-American, and then they gave it to me, and that's Che Guevara on the clock. Thank you for sharing the live, Mamu. Thank you. Thank you. Holy cow, he shared it a lot. What sport are you watching? Wrestling. Fave communist figure. It's between Che and Sankara. Honestly, there are a lot of them who are out there. I really like Hugo Chavez too, but I'm a big Che guy. Che was just a Chad. Che is like, if there's anyone you should emulate and try to be like, it's Che Guevara. Sankara as well, but yeah, Che actually, what gives Che the edge against Sankara, sadly was eventually assassinated by Western countries and Western intelligence agencies and the people that they backed within Burkina Faso, and he was assassinated and the revolution was overthrown. Whereas the revolution in Cuba is still going today, but still two great men, two uncorruptible, dedicated men. Someone said, I thought you were a wrestling coach. I am. So I run a club for youth and high school wrestlers. I am a volunteer assistant at a college, so I coach 2 different programs. And then I also am competing to make the Olympics, plus I do Midwestern marks. So that's why I'm like insanely busy every day of my life, but it's doing politics and it's doing wrestling, so it's the things that I love, which, it still gets hard sometimes. Some days I'm like, holy crap, I can't do 4 practices plus a stream today, but then I remember there's people doing 8 to 10 hours of concrete every day for the rest of their lives in order to make sure their kids don't starve, and okay, guess my life isn't so bad. Revolutionary and handsome. Thank you. Thoughts on Candace Owens? Yeah, that's crazy. I just did a video about it. It's crazy. I mean, the thing with Candace, and obviously I've never been a fan of Candace Owens. I've always seen her as a corporate mouthpiece. Someone who's been groomed, since she was young to be a corporate mouthpiece. Thank you, Intel Prev. Or Intel Pro Rev. Thank you for the heart. Candace, obviously, has been a corporate mouthpiece forever, but she's gotten better over the years. She's become more of a... She's formed, some independent opinions on certain things. And her podcast, her show now is actually a lot about parenting. But anyways, she has been beefing with Ben Shapiro lately over Israel-Palestine, because Candace Owens had Norman Finkelstein on her show. And Norman Finkelstein, pointed out the amount of indiscriminate bombing that Israel's doing and how Israel's carpet bombing these residential areas and how they've unalived countless children, thousands, tens, over 10,000 children. And Norman Finkelstein says, you're an expecting mother. Imagine if another country was doing that to our children here in America. Imagine if another country, missile striked your daughter. How would you feel? And that really affected Candace Owens. Thank you, Mo. Thank you, Tobis. That you could tell that deeply affected Candace, and her coverage of Israel-Palestine changed after that. She still wasn't, the most pro-Palestinian person around. Thank you for the rose. She wasn't the most extreme pro-Palestine person around. She still condemned Hamas and said Israel has a right to exist and all of that. Thank you, Tobis. Yeehaw. Oh my gosh, I put the hat on my head up there. That's hilarious. But she was against Israel's indiscriminate bombing, right? She's like, I don't think Israel should be bombing civilian areas. I think it's disgusting how many children have been taken out by Israel, and I don't think they're, being measured and being legal in the way that they're carrying out their bombing campaigns. They're obviously destroying people's lives and hitting civilians and hitting children, and that is wrong. Right, and just her saying that has been enough to turn Ben Shapiro against her, and now she's being let go by the Daily Wire. She lost her job. She got fired by the Daily Wire for saying that Israel shouldn't indiscriminately bomb children and civilians. As an expecting mother, she's losing her job for saying that Israel shouldn't bomb children. And it's just absurd, but we know that's how the corporate media works, right? You're only allowed to do so much dissent, right? You're only allowed to speak out so much. And when you do what Tucker Carlson did, or what you do what Candace Owens did, and you stop being a complete mouthpiece of the Zionists and of the ruling class, they kick you to the curb. They boot you out. And now there are all these disgusting, just like cringeworthy, puke-inducing, nauseating piece of garbage articles from corporate media. Thank you, Avocado. Thank you for the rose. These Avocado Caleb. These garbage articles from Washington Post and Rolling Stone saying Candace Owens is getting let go for her repeated attacks on Jewish people, or for her repeated anti-Semitism. Right? Because she has repeatedly said, I have no problem with the Jewish people. I love Jewish people. I have Jewish friends. But I'm against the state of Israel bombing children. Because she said that. Because she said she doesn't want children to get blown up by missile strikes. She's being smeared as an anti-Semite by the corporate media. Which really gives away the game. Really gives away the game. Do you play bass? A little bit. I mostly play guitar, but... Thank you for following. Thank you. Same thing in Russia. Show us the bass. Here's the bass. There it is. Oh, thank you, Nader. Thank you, Nader. Just followed you. Sweet. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. For everyone who wants to keep up with me after our TikTok inevitably gets banned, join the Discord server. Link in my bio. Thank you, Nader. Thank you for those. For those who don't know, for those who are just finding me or just following my account, we've been banned 7 times on TikTok, including my mixed martial arts accounts that didn't even have anything to do with politics. They completely wiped them out. Repeatedly, every time, it's been when we've been speaking out against, a U.S. regime change effort, is when we get banned. So now that we're speaking out against what Israel's doing, it's likely that we get banned again, or it's likely that all of TikTok gets banned. So the best way to keep up with us is to join the Discord server, link in my bio, and then follow me on X, on Twitter, plus YouTube and Instagram and stuff. I love your points, man, that you post daily. Love getting information from you. Thank you. Thank you, I suck toes. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for spitting facts and sucking toes. Minus the sucking toes part, I guess. Thank you, Brownie Poppy. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for following, Zachary. Whoa. Thank you, Zayd. Thank you, John. That's cool. Hanging lights. The donations that you get on TikTok are so much cooler than the ones you get on Twitch and YouTube. On Twitch and YouTube, they just pop up real quick. Is YouTube in the bio? Yeah, it's in the link tree in my bio. Yeah, subscribe to our YouTube. I used to push the YouTube super, super hard, and I still do, but we've been demonetized on YouTube. So it's not as good as it once was, but still, follow us on YouTube and Twitch. We stream like every single week, usually twice a week, so. You stand with the truth, you get popular. Yeah, eventually. Yep, that's what's happening now. People who stand with the truth are getting popular, even though they're getting suppressed. The masses don't care. The masses see through the corporate media these days. I just did a video responding to CNN's piece that they did about the TikTok ban. And they're like, when we talk to conservatives and progressive young people who use TikTok, they both sound the same. Right? They both sound similar, like conspiracy theorists. They think the government in AIPAC is trying to suppress TikTok because that's where pro-Palestinian information is and stuff like that. It's like the reason why young conservatives and young progressives sound similar when they talk about, TikTok suppression and corporate media. Thank you, Ruby. Thank you, Pablo. Is because both conservative and progressive young people are realizing that the establishment is full of crap, that the corporate media is lying to us, and they're turning to outlets like mine here on TikTok that's actually going to give them the full truth. Right? So CNN can cope all they want, and say these people are conspiracy theorists, but that's not the case. They're the ones who have pumped out constant lies. They're the ones who lied about the Iraq War and the invasion of Libya and American healthcare and smeared Bernie Sanders to no end in the 2016 and 2020 elections and propped up Hillary Clinton. And, they've told so many lies at this point. And that's not even getting into COVID and how they, just reported whatever the pharmaceutical industry wanted them to report. So then, they call people who are seeking the truth on TikTok conspiracy theorists. And they say, look, there's a bunch of conservatives. Like, for young people today, oh, nice cradle. It's not even so much about, progressive versus conservative. It's about the working class against the capitalist class, the working class against the ruling class, the establishment against the masses, right? That's why conservative and progressive young people are starting to sound the same, because they're realizing that we shouldn't fight each other over these culture war issues, over these social issues. We should fight against the banks and the ruling class and the multinational corporations who are sending us to fight and die in senseless wars and using all our tax dollars on regime change while 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. All right? Conservative and progressive young people are realizing that. And then CNN said too in that piece they did, young people are also mad because they see TikTok as a form of employment. They see it as a way to get paid. They say it like it's the stupidest thing ever. And they're like, that's exactly what TikTok's telling them. TikTok's telling them that it's a form of employment, and that's why they're fighting for it not to get banned. Thank you for the sushi, Ruby. Right? They make it sound like people are just idiots. These young people are just stupid conspiracy theorists who are being manipulated by TikTok. And they don't understand that CNN is the actual, tells the actual truth. It's like the reason that we see TikTok as a form of employment and as a form of revenue isn't because that's what TikTok told us. It's because that's what TikTok is. It's because I work 2 jobs, but I wouldn't be able to live, a comfortable life and actually save money and pay off my student loans and have health insurance if I didn't have TikTok revenue. Right? And if Biden bans TikTok, yeah, it's a lot of revenue that I'm no longer making. Thank you, Moose. Thank you for the roses. So then you got CNN. You have this corporate journalist for CNN who only has a job there because she's willing to say whatever the establishment wants her to say. You have a person like that saying these idiots on TikTok think that they deserve, think that it's a form of employment. It is. It is a form of employment, especially because I could never get a job at CNN because I say the truth. I tell people what's actually going on in the world, so guess what? I have to come to TikTok because no corporate media outlet will ever hire me. And that's the thing about corporate media journalists. They're so condescending, and they treat independent journalists like they're just conspiracy theorists. Like, no, you're a bunch of liars, and we are actually telling the truth, so people are turning to us. And the TV, the cable news, doesn't allow truth tellers on it, so people are turning to TikTok. And that's exactly why the government wants to ban it. So it's just so ridiculous. Thank you, Mecha Patriot. Thank you. Thank you, Ruby. It's awesome. Mecha Patriot. I love it. Thank you, Aram Grace. Thank you. But it's so annoying to listen to these corporate media journalists, talk about how the independent journalists are conspiracy theorists and, they're on TikTok. They're on TikTok. They can't be telling the truth. They're not on CNN. They're not on an established outlet like me. Like, no, the reason people are turning to TikTok is because the corporate media is so full of shit. Because people know the corporate media lied us into a rock. Because they know the corporate media does the bidding of the pharmaceutical industry. Right? That is why people are turning to TikTok. Not because they're conspiracy theorists who are being brainwashed by communist China. Thank you, Mega Patriot. Please, 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 if you don't want to lose me and Midwestern Marks and the content that we provide, please join our Discord server. The link is in my bio. End apartheid now. Yes. All about the money. It's all about the money and furthering the accumulation of capital. Looking handsome, gangsta. Thank you, Ed G. Thank you, Mr. Beef. Mr. Beef and Cheddar with the donut. You need a Puerto Rican flag. I do. Puerto Rico is the only foreign country I've ever been to, and technically it's not even, a foreign country, because it's a U.S. territory, which is just another word for a colony. But I did get, where is it? I don't know where it is, but, no, there it is. I did get this bad boy the other day. Little passport action. So now I can leave the country. Free PR, yeah. Where would you want to go next? Ooh, great country. Great country. Great question. What country would I want to go to? Probably China. China's the place I would like to live more than anywhere else too. But I just want to see, you know, what socialism has done there. I want to see the high-speed rail for myself. I want to use the subway system. I want to go grocery shopping. I just want to see what it's like to live there. That was my favorite professor in college. He was a Marxist, and he's the one who really helped me get into Marxism. Him plus Carlos, who runs the website with me now, runs the institute with me. But anyways, he was, you know, a small town farm boy from Iowa. He grew up on a farm. He was conservative. And then he got to college, started studying things, you know, became more of a socialist. And then after that, he went to China to study abroad. And he's like, wow, you know, there's a different way of living. There's a different way of organizing society versus, you know, the free market dictatorship of capital, the ruthless individualism and capitalism that we see in America. And you know, just seeing China and seeing the way that things function so much more rationally, and seeing the way that the economy was geared towards taking care of the people more so than geared towards, you know, furthering the profits of shareholders and the accumulation of capital, that turned them away from capitalism and towards socialism, which, you know, the receipts are coming in more and more every day. I know China isn't perfect. There are critiques to be made of China, but they've abolished absolute poverty, whereas, you know, Americans are drowning in poverty. Well, 80% or 80% of this country is living paycheck to paycheck. 60% of this country has medical debt. The vast majority of us have some kind of debt to the banks, who are the richest in society. Right? We have such a parasitic system where the people at the top get rich by putting the rest of us in debt and charging us interest and exploiting the labor of the rest of us. So China doesn't have as much of a parasitic system. They have a system where the surplus value is invested in things like transportation. It's invested in things like reforestation and the combating of ecological degradation. It's put into poverty alleviation. It's put into industrialization efforts. It's put into housing efforts, versus the surplus of our country goes into endless wars and goes into furthering the accumulation of private shareholders, which doesn't necessarily benefit anybody except for Wall Street. Thank you, Muse. So every day we see, you know, central economic planning and socialism being superior to capitalism. That's why China's the fastest growing economy in the world. Critique them as much as you want. They're better than the U.S. Sorry, I'm watching a guy who I wrestled right now. Oh, he must have transferred schools. Oh, he's going to lose. What is going on here? This is crazy. There's no way he doesn't give this up. No freaking way. No way. Oh! Oh, he didn't give it up. Whoa! One of the guys who I've beaten in the past is wrestling at the Division I national tournament right now. So that's kind of cool. I don't have a passport, but I'd love to visit Spain. Cool. Spain would be cool. Who are you cheering for in the tournament? A guy named... I don't know if I should tell you his name. I'm cheering for a guy named Shane Legal from the University of Wisconsin. That's who I'm cheering for more than anyone. Former teammate of mine. Why haven't you left America yet? I just got my passport. I'm working on it. User 4719. Eddie, iron that flag. Good idea. I don't have an iron, though. If you could talk to one of your political heroes dead or alive, who would it be? Probably Che. Probably El Che. I would love to get his analysis of the... Although, if I could bring anybody back to give an analysis of 2024, the world today, it would be Karl Marx. I would just love to have Karl Marx around to give his own analysis of what's going on and see how similar it is to mine. I had a question, or someone had a question that I wanted to answer, but I can't remember. Thank you, Tonito, for following. This guy's genuine as F. Best of luck, G. Thank you. Thank you. I try to be as genuine as possible. Principled Marxists iron their flags. Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, someone said, why aren't you an anarchist? Yeah, because there have been no successful anarchist revolutions, right? China is showing us all these benefits of central economic planning and socialism, right? That's from a communist revolution. That's from the working class seizing power of the state. Thank you, Muse. And There's never been, a successful anarchist uprising, and anarchists have never abolished absolute poverty. It's just, it's an extremely utopian idea. The idea that we're going to have a revolution and we're going to build a new and better society without any government, without any state power. It's just not going to happen. You need the government to help organize things, and you need to use the state to combat the ruling capitalist class. The shareholders aren't just going to go down without a fight, right? They're going to try and suppress the workers and maintain their control over the whole of society. Right? So you need some kind of institution to suppress them and build the new society, and that's what the state becomes once the worker sees power of it. So the analysis of the state just makes way more sense in the Marxist-Leninist tradition versus the anarchist tradition. The Marxist-Leninist tradition is scientific, right? The Marxist-Leninist tradition looked at the failure of the Paris Commune, right? They said these workers had this uprising in Paris. They tried to create a socialist state, and it was crushed by the capitalist government. And that shows us that what the workers need to do is first take power of the government. We need to seize the state, the government, back from the capitalists. And then we can use the government to bring economic power into the hands of the workers. Otherwise, if we just try and give economic power to the workers right away, the capitalist government will just crush it. If we try and make a utopian society, the capitalist government will just crush it. Right? So the Marxist analysis of the state and this idea that workers need to seize power of the state and use it to build the revolution comes from experience. It comes from, looking at the uprisings of workers in the past, what failed, what worked, or what worked and what didn't. The anarchist idea of the state is just utopian. It says, I don't like the government, the state is bad, the state does bad things, let's get rid of it completely. Well, okay, that sounds great in theory, but how do you actually build a society with no government, with no state? Right? The places with no state in the world today are like Libya and Haiti. Which, Libya went from one of the most prosperous countries in all of Africa under the socialist state to a country with open-air slavery and mass poverty, basically run by gangs. And Haiti's the same thing. It's a republic of NGOs and gangs and mercenaries. So, that's what happens if you just get rid of the state in reality. You have anarchy. It reminds me of that Family Guy episode where Peter Griffin becomes an anarchist, I think, and they overthrow the state, and they're like, now what do we do? They're like, well, we should build an institution that enforces the laws and keeps people safe and does blah, blah, blah. And they basically explain a state. They're like, we're going to overthrow the state and then build, a state. But the idea is, you build a state that's actually controlled by the workers. You build an actual revolutionary state that takes care of people instead of just waging endless wars to help the accumulation of capital. Be sure to go to the link tree in my bio and join the Midwestern Marks Discord. Join the Discord, join the Discord, join the Discord. Join our community. It'll make you a better person. We need state institutions to remain organized. Yep. There just hasn't ever been a successful stateless society. Idea why Russia and China make alliance similar to NATO? Well, they're making a military alliance out of necessity, in response to NATO threatening them constantly, and the U.S. really has China and Russia pretty much encircled with their military, especially China, because the U.S. is stationed all over the South China Sea. So it only makes sense that they're doing military drills and, working together, but it's largely defensive. Whereas NATO has been an offensive imperialist organization. They dismantled Yugoslavia, bombed the crap out of Serbia, destroyed Libya. Iraq was actually not NATO. It was led by the U.S. and Britain because Iraq was such an illegal and offensive and unnecessary intervention that they couldn't get France and the other NATO countries to go along with it. But NATO has been the spearhead and the main military arm of capitalist imperialism in this century. And that's, what China and Russia are doing joint military drills in response to. They're doing it in response to the threat of NATO. So it is like them creating their own NATO in a way. My friend is coming over late. My friend's coming over soon, actually, so I gotta keep an eye on the time, but we still got a little time. Thank you, Elijah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Jesus loves y'all. Thoughts on BRICS? BRICS is great. BRICS is good. BRICS is another way that Russia and China and Iran and these countries that the U.S. has been trying to destroy forever. BRICS is a way that they're combating the Western-dominated financial system. Thank you for the roses. Appreciate that. And combating the petrodollar and U.S. dollar dominance, which helps them to enforce imperialism around the world. Communism is working in China and Cuba. It is. The most base TikToker. Thank you. Free Palestine. Why was getting NATO involved in Libya so much easier than Iraq? Good question. I think people just bought into the propaganda more about Gaddafi. Because, like, Danny Shaw talks about this. Thank you. Thank you for the heart, comrade. Appreciate those hand hearts. Because when they were doing the propaganda about Gaddafi, there was all this stuff about him, giving his soldiers Viagra so they could commit more horrific crimes and all these crazy stories about Gaddafi that people bought into. And there were tons of people, progressives, who were cheering on the war in Libya, right? There were people at Occupy Wall Street in 2008 holding up signs arguing for the overthrow of Gaddafi, arguing for a Libyan intervention. And Professor Danny Shaw said that at Occupy Wall Street, thank you, Mitro, thank you. At Occupy Wall Street, they would protest against Mitro Vicalia. At Occupy Wall Street, they would protest against the Libyan intervention, and they would get heckled, right? Progressives and leftists and people who were there protesting Wall Street would say, no, we're against Wall Street, but we support the invasion of Libya. It's ridiculous. Like, no, Wall Street's the ones who want to invade Libya, you guys. But so many people fell for it. People fell for Iraq, too, People fell for the Iraq invasion. We take it for granted now because everyone knows the war was based on lies. But at the time, there were tons of people who thought Saddam was involved in 9/11, who thought he had weapons of mass destruction. They were all about the war. And now in hindsight, we can look back and see that they were terrible, and everybody's an anti-imperialist in hindsight years later after, everything comes out. But at the time, people were in favor of it. So I don't know how they were able to convince people about Libya so much more than Iraq. Maybe they weren't. Maybe it's only now that people realize these regime change efforts were BS. Who's your GOAT wrestler? Probably Buvashar Satiev in freestyle. And Mijan Lopez Nunez or who's the other guy? Karelin and Greco. Long live Palestine. Free Palestine. Yes. Be sure, if you're in the stream right now, go to the link in my bio and join the Midwestern Marks Discord. It will improve your life. You can learn about politics, you can learn about health and fitness, and you can help the Midwestern Marks Institute and help me. It's only a matter of time before I get banned on TikTok, so be sure to join up there. Oh, they're at 197 already? This is flying through. I haven't seen my buddy wrestle yet. Oh, he's coming up next. My friend is coming up next. I'm Matt 2. I have Matt 2 here, yeah. He's warming up to wrestle right now. Let's go. Won't let me join the Discord. Try copy and pasting the link into your browser. Yeah, sorry, I should have said that. If you're having trouble with the Discord, copy and paste the link into your browser. Then sure. Why do you have the Palestinian flag and not the American flag? I have American flags. I have American flags, but right now I'm standing with the people who are being attacked. I'm standing with the people who are under occupation. Just because I'm American doesn't mean I can't wave a Palestinian flag. We got plenty of Americans in Congress right now waving Israeli flags. We got an American who showed up the Congress dressed in an Israeli military uniform. Right? So if they're allowed to do that, I'm allowed to wave the Palestinian flag. All right? And there's a lot of flags. There's a lot of flags that I would wave. And right now, thank you, Jake. And I love my country in that I love the people of my country. I love the working people of this country. I love the masses. I love, the country doesn't mean the government. Thank you for following. Thank you. Destiny keeps losing debates. Yes, he does. He lost a debate to me, and he thought he could beat Finkelstein, which is crazy. I'm going to need some mods. Oh, I think my buddy's here. What was I saying? Oh, the flag. You know, right now I don't want to wave an American flag. America's doing a lot of horrible things around the world. They're doing horrible things in Israel, so I don't want to, in Palestine, I don't want to represent necessarily the American government right now. But I do love the American people, and I do have an American flag. It's just supporting Palestine right now. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go hang out with my buddy and watch the NCAA championships. Thank you, Ruby. Thank you, everyone who followed. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, everyone who sent stickers. That's hilarious. Be sure to go to the link in my bio and join the Discord server. Copy and paste the Discord link into your browser if it doesn't work straight from the link tree. Thank you, Aram Grace. Thank you, Sally. Thank you to everyone who sent stickers. Thank you to everyone who's still doing that. Thank you to everyone who followed. Be sure to follow. And yeah, join the Discord. That's the main thing I can say. And follow me on X at Midwestern Marks and at Ed B. Liger Smith. Subscribe on YouTube. Okay, I'll be done rambling now. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.